It's time to take a look at news stories making headlines around the globe. In an unusual move, President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday swiftly congratulated People's Democratic Party candidate and Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki, who recorded a resounding victory in last Saturday's governorship election, thrashing his main challenger, Sagi Ize-Iyamu of the All Progressive Congress. In the same vein, President Muhammadu Buhari has commended the electoral process in Edo State, which led to the victory of Governor Obaseki as declared by an independent National Electoral Commission. In a tweet, presidential spokesman Garba Shehu said the president commended the people of Edo State, the parties, the candidates, and security agencies for conducting themselves responsibly. While also reiterating his commitments to free and fair election, the president declared that democracy will mean nothing if the votes of the people are not made to count or if their mandate is fraudulently tampered with. With this victory, PDP now controls the entire South-South state, including Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Cross River, Edo, Delta, Rivers. And for Obaseki's party, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, it was a spectacular rebound under the national chairman, Prince Uche Secondus, claiming the state had lost in 2012. Okay, Tundu, you're back. Let me start with you on this, Tundu. What's your read on all of this?
Well, first of all, congratulations to the governor-elect, being re-elected, Governor Godwin Obaseki. And while there were those of us who hoped for a Jonathan-style phone call to concede defeat from Pastor Ize-Iyamu, we were sort of having to make do with the call from the president himself, which does send a good sign. Obviously, that does not tie Pastor Ize-Iyamu's hands, and it doesn't tie the party APC's hands from deciding to challenge the results. That's still an option. But it does send a really positive sign on the part of the president that he's just not paying lip service to democracy, that he really does stand for free and fair elections. I thought that was a really good move on his part.
Great move. Dr. Abati?
Well, first, let's commend President Muhammadu Buhari for responding swiftly and for congratulating the winner of the election. As Tundu said, yes, that's a very good move. He has sent a signal that the will of the people should be respected, because if anything, that election on Saturday, everyone concluded that the will of the people prevailed. And you could see the way the people of Edo State were jubilating. Old women, young persons, they were all saying, Obaseki, Ogbane. I don't know what Ogbane means. But apparently from the way they were dancing as they were chanting Ogbane, it means that they were satisfied with the outcome of the election. Now, the opposition party, the APC, led by Ize-Iyamu, Pastor Ize-Iyamu, they've said they reject the result. Well, I hope that, this is not an attempt to create other problems. I recall that in 2012, we faced a similar situation when Oshiomhole was re-elected. President Jonathan, as President Muhammadu Buhari has done now, went out immediately and congratulated Oshiomhole. Even when the local branch of the PDP in Edo State was complaining, there was very little they could do because the president had already provided leadership. And what President Buhari has done is to put a stamp on the outcome of that election and to provide the necessary leadership in a state that everybody thought was going to implode. And we have not seen that implosion. Now, we hope that, Pastor Ize-Iyamu saying that he would take certain other steps that he will announce. Well, he may take the case all the way to the Supreme Court. It's within his rights to do so. But we also hope that the judiciary will note what has happened and that we will not have, even if the case goes to court, the kind of situation we had in Imo, where the Supreme Court engaged in dubious arithmetics, and that is important because of the intervention of the international community, which I think also played a role in this Edo election. All the people who ordinarily snatch ballot boxes behave themselves, except in one or two local governments, or Edo and Oniomo, and Hesako Central. And at the end of the day, the process went smoothly. Even the security agencies, they behave themselves. Because we've been saying the US, the UK, the EU should not just sanction political actors. They should also sanction from INEC officials to policemen to soldiers. So for the first time in a long while, everybody was sober. So even when the case goes to, if it goes to Election Petition Tribunal, if it goes all the way, we also hope that the judiciary will note that they too can be sanctioned by the international community. Elections in Nigeria are no longer, local affairs. Yeah. The international community is focusing on electoral offenders and people who try to violate the electoral process. Well, the CSOs, civil society organizations that monitored and observed the election, they've all concluded so far that it was free, fair, and credible. There were skirmishes, reports from a local government, Oredo local government, Orion local government, Esako Central, where somebody was shot and somebody was macheted in the face, Orion where somebody died. But at the end of the day, it wasn't an implosion. It was a smooth process, and I hope that Governor Obaseki, who has now been able to slay the specter of godfatherism, deserves his victory, and he should enjoy it. But he should also be magnanimous, as President Buhari has advised. He should run an all-inclusive government. He should not go ahead with his promise that after the election, if he wins, he will deal with Oshiomhole. He doesn't need to deal with him. He has the people behind them. And the people who said they will spend their last kobo to deal with him, I think he should embrace everybody. Because what is now important is for him to serve the interest of the Edo people. The Edo people spoke on Saturday, and they spoke loudly that what they want is continuity, governance, good service. That's what he should focus on. Yeah. He should not constitute himself into another godfather, and he should just move the state forward. That's what the people expect.
I think the true winners in all of this are the Edo people.
Yes.
And they have won. The Edo people, congratulations to you, most importantly. All right, that's all the news headlines. We'll take a short break. Then we'll return. We'll have to okay, we still have some minutes to go. So, like I was saying, I think the true winners here are the Edo people. They came out en masse. I was monitoring things down in Edo, and you needed to see people say to me, Rufai, it's raining heavily. It rained heavily in Edo, but I will go out and cast my vote. I will go out.
So they opted for the umbrella on a rainy day.
They really did.
I will shock you. So I knew somebody that stayed around the Warisapler Road, but had registered in Yare, in Edo. You can see the proximity between Warisapler Road and Yare. And the person left her home in the morning and went all the way to Yare and ensured that she must vote. Everybody in Edo yesterday, on Saturday I should say, had a stake in that election. Maybe it was for Pastor Eze Yamu or for Governor Obaseki. It was an election that they must vote. Although another part to it that I saw that I didn't like, I heard voter apathy. There was a level of voter apathy because the voting numbers reduced considerably compared to 2016 election. I don't know how that happened, but there was this...
No, they didn't. Over 400,000 persons did not collect their voters' cards. Total number of registered voters was 2.241 million. But about 400,000 did not collect. So at the end of the day, you had a voting population of accredited voters of about 1.74 million.
So maybe that affected compared to 2016. Maybe more people picked up their PVC, but you could see that even the people that went out there, they wanted to prove a point. They wanted to prove a point.
When I was watching the morning show, daily, of course, from my extended leave of absence, your concern here, I really don't do it. Your concern here was always about the people and how it appeared that the people were being forgotten, but they really made their presence felt, the people of Edo State.
And I think one leg of the analysis that we may well point out is that the statement by persons outside Edo State, from Kano, from Lagos, people went from Lagos to go and campaign in Edo State. And the people, post-mortem of the election were saying, you don't dictate to the people of Edo State. Edo not be Lagos.
Edo not be Lagos.
Obaseki not be Ambode. And the people, there was some kind of nationalism among the Edo people yesterday. They wanted to, on Saturday, they wanted to protect their space. Yes. And that was exactly what happened.
For me, a part that stood out, Dr. Abati, was when they were counting the vote in a particular ward, and you needed to see the way they were dancing and shouting. I think I was here, they would count a particular party, you hear Pogba. I don't know, maybe the word Pogba means complete. Pogba, Pogba. And they kept on dancing. It was like fun, fair atmosphere.
It was a carnival.
Yeah, it was a carnival. They waited to count their votes. So, very inspiring elections.
Let's hope that Obaseki will justify this vote of confidence.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll have the duo of Rotus and Aaron to give us updates on COVID-19 and African business. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to the morning show right here on the Raj News channel. Dependable Rotus Odiri is here to give us African business update. Rotus, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. Good morning to you,
Good to see you
Rufai. And Tundu, good morning. Great to see you as well. Welcome back.
Great to see you too. Thank you.
And good morning to you, Doctor. Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
So we all just heard Doctor talking about the peaceful process in Edo State as far as the elections were concerned. As far as the private sector investment is concerned, just to take folks back a bit, Governor Obaseki, and congrats to him on his re-election, he announced an oil palm initiative, Edo State Oil Palm Initiative, which was supposed to develop oil palm in Edo State and also create jobs. CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele assisted in that initiative because it fell in line with the agricultural plans of the CBN and the federal government of Nigeria. They opened up a 69 billion naira facility. Now, this was December of 2019. He visited the state. You can see the images of them together there. So he was supporting his initiative. The private sector was also involved. So Mr. Pierre Van der Beek, who is the chairman of the board of Presco. Presco is an agro-industrialized company. In January of this year, he paid a visit to Governor Obaseki, and there was an announcement made to where they would be collaborating on developing high-yield palm oil seedlings. So what you now have here with a free and fair election taking place is that private sector can breathe a sigh of relief. Doctor was just talking about how things were heated leading up to this election. We had Arise News covered this extensively. We had Oshimele, Comrade Oshimele on the show. We had the candidates on the show. There was a lot leading up to this election. So for private sectors, they're like, okay, look, we hope this goes well. We hope it's free and fair. And we hope there is continuity in government. So where other companies, maybe Okomo Oil and other places, other companies in the oil palm space, because Edo is rich in oil palm, as well as rubber and other items there, can now double up on what's been seen now. We can continue investing in this space and maybe encourage even more businesses coming in. So on the business side of things, it's good to have a free and fair election, because political risk is one of the risks that businesses look at when they're looking to invest in the place. So this is very good for Governor Obaseki. He can now continue his talks with Presco and possibly entice other companies to come into Edo State to continue investment there. So the election has a lot of positive ramifications as far as business is concerned. We move on to the CBN now. The central bank, this is from our sister publication This Day, has reported that they are looking to investigate about 100 more companies for unscrupulous acts with regards to foreign exchange infractions. It's understood, according to an anonymous source that spoke to This Day, that the central bank has requested account information, naira and dollar account information about 100 extra companies, because it is suspected that they've been purchasing FX from anonymous sources, unauthorized sources, and exporting proceeds out of the country without using what's called a form NXP. An NXP is a mandatory statutory document that's supposed to be completed by all exporters for shipment of goods outside of Nigeria. So the central bank is really cracking down on these particular companies. And if you read the article in today's This Day, they listed like a number of them that they suspect to be engaged in these actions. So, with what happened with the gaming companies, about 38 of them, there was the NDP, the PND, sorry, the post-note debit that they placed on their banks, on the accounts of those gaming companies because of unscrupulous actions. We saw some letters that were released to the banks and so on. So the central bank is very serious about what's going on here. And so we expect, further announcements as far as the hammer coming down on some of these companies with respect to these alleged unscrupulous FX activities, because we have to conserve the foreign exchange that we have. We move on to tech. There was a webinar that took place on Friday between Nick Clegg, who is at Facebook, Vice President at Facebook, and Professor Yomi Osibanjo. They talked about a number of things about the future of Facebook in Africa, and an announcement was made to where Facebook is going to be opening an office. We're seeing images of 2018 here when Mark Zuckerberg, CEO and founder of Facebook, visited Nigeria. But they're going to be opening an office in the second half of 2021. They want want it to house a number of engineers. They want to be able to develop tech, as far as tech is concerned, in the nation. And they're going to be tapping a lot of talent from Africa. In 2019, Africa was one of the fastest growing spaces for software engineering talent in the tech space. So Facebook is making a bet here on Nigeria becoming their second office. Cape Town, Johannesburg in 2015 was the first office that they opened in Africa. And Nigeria in second half of 2021 is set to be the second one. It's also been said, though, that they are looking, because of our growing population, they're also looking at, of course, monetizing ads, getting more people to see more ads. So there's a monetary angle to it, of course. It's a private company. But for our benefit, we're going to be seeing more training of engineers here. We're going to be seeing them tapping into the source of software development source here. So that's a very good initiative with regards to what Facebook plans to do in tech and specifically in Africa. On the entertainment front, the Lagos State government announced over the weekend that they're going to be reopening cinemas, spas, and gyms. The cinemas, though, have to keep strict 33% of their capacity. 33 to 50%. I actually went to a couple cinemas over the weekend and took a look at them. Weren't very full, but they were open and they were back in action. There is, however, one has to talk about the losses that they faced over these last 7 months that they've been closed. I understand it's to the tune of anywhere from 6 to 7 billion naira. Staff has to be laid off. Salaries cut, their fixed costs continue to run all this time that they were closed. So your fixed costs are still rising, and you're not able to actually bring in revenue from selling tickets. But still, they're open now. The question now is, going forward, how do you dig yourself out of the hole that you're in as far as revenue is concerned with respect to making enough money from ticket sales and all the ancillary services to trying to return back to profitability at 33% capacity or 50% capacity of a theater sitting? So that's something that has to be looked at, but I would believe that they are happy that they are able to reopen at this point. It's better than still being closed. And then still on the cinema front, Film One, which is a Nigerian company here, they've announced a deal with Walt Disney Studios. Film One is now an exclusive distributor of Walt Disney content, film content in English-speaking West Africa, so Nigeria, Ghana, and Liberia. So you're looking at all these Disney properties, Fox, Searchlight Pictures, Pixar, all these essentially are going to be distributed exclusively by Film One. Now, what this means is that if another theater in Nigeria or English-speaking West Africa, Ghana or Liberia want to release a Disney film, they essentially would have to pay for distribution rights from Film One in order to be able to show those movies here. So it's a good move for them. I'm looking forward to speaking with one of their executives to find out if they have more deals in line with other studios overseas, and also what this means for streaming. I mean, this is physical sittings, but you have to look at, with regards to COVID-19, changing how people attend movies and who people are being more afraid of going out there. Deals like this could possibly be structured for streaming as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how the space opens up and what kind of deals are structured going forward. Okay, and that's our update.
All right, Roses, I'm really excited you brought up a couple of stories. At first, you asked the question, how are the cinemas going to make money? Is there any talk about increase in tickets on the horizon? Because if you're working at 33% opening rates, I'm sure probably you have to increase the number. But I'm excited about what Facebook is doing. And when you look at what the big four are doing, I mean, I've done a lot of things with Microsoft. Microsoft too has done the same in Nigeria. In fact, Microsoft is recruiting close to about 500 engineers in Nigeria. And it looks to me that most of these big tech companies, the big four as they are called, are now looking the way of Africa for their not just retail investment, because formerly they used to have retail hubs where they used to sell their apps and software, but they want to start creating those apps and software in Nigeria by having the engineering team here, so they can create bespoke solutions for businesses. So it's not just selling on-premise software now. It's about selling softwares that are made in Nigeria that can be adapted for the burgeoning corporate sector in Nigeria. And I'm excited that Facebook too is taking that poll. Nick Clegg, the former Deputy Prime Minister of the UK, Vice President of Facebook, and another great person in Facebook pushing all of this is Sheryl Sandberg. And she's been pushing that company so hard. It just shows that Africa is the new and next frontier.
Indeed. Yes, I'm really glad that they're taking advantage of our huge youth population and seeing all the possibilities. It's wonderful. And so is the Film One deal with Disney. So we're looking forward to getting The Mandalorian in every home in Nigeria. Baby Yoda.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But on the ticket side, they have to be careful because disposable incomes for people who moviegoers are already squeezed. So there have been no announcement on tickets being increased, but it's a good point you've raised, Rufai. They have to look at that, but then they have to be careful.
All right.
Thank you, Rota.
Thank you so much. We go for COVID-19 update with Aaron Akerijola quickly. All right, still the Rise Morning Show, and we're going straight to COVID-19 pandemic update with Aaron Akerijola. Aaron, how's it going?
I'm doing good. Good morning to you, Rufai. Good morning to you, Doctor.
Aaron.
And Tundu. Good morning. Looking like a ray of morning sunshine. I must say.
Here comes the poetry.
It's good to have you back.
Here on the poet. Somebody is frowning here in the studio.
He has the right to. And it's expected.
What of the dog skin? I mean, I'm consolidated, Aaron. You can do all the poetry.
Okay.
I'm consolidated.
Okay, let's get straight into it. We'll actually start it up in terms of COVID-19 with some good news, because New Zealand and Jacinda Ardern has been heavily commended for how New Zealand and her government have fought COVID-19. And just this morning, they spoke about easing up lockdowns, moving from level 2.5 to level 2 for those in Auckland and the rest of New Zealand, moving from 2 to 1. And she spoke about the response to this particular virus. And I must say that they also celebrated the fact that there were zero confirmed cases in the last 24 hours. So you look at this and you say to yourself, New Zealand have actually been leading the charge and setting the example for what has been happening in terms of COVID-19 fight. And I must say, when they saw a second wave, as it would be, when they relaxed their fight against COVID-19, they went back at it and did what they did initially, and it seems to be working, and it has worked again. Kudos to them. Also, we are seeing in Australia, they are also limiting the number of infections there. We're seeing it also drop there. Congratulations to these people in the Oceania region and what they are doing in terms of the fight against COVID-19. Although the citizenry are the ones paying for it, because that will mean increase in taxes, but regardless of that, the fact that health before wealth, as they always say, it actually makes a lot of sense. Now, moving away from that to the UK, the United Kingdom, we've been speaking about the fact that there's been a massive surge of cases in the UK, and the government has tried to kick into overdrive to ensure that they do a lot. We're expecting a lot from the Prime Minister's office in terms of the launching of the Track and Trace app, which a lot of people, I will say, is already dead on arrival. But they are saying that they will be finding several key people in the UK if you flout COVID-19, others as much as £1,000. That's the price you might have to pay if you actually go against the protocols that have been set out by the health ministry. So they are keeping an eye on how things are actually playing out there in the UK, with the hope that they don't enter into a second wave there. Now, trying to bring it to Africa now. Now, let's look at the African numbers in terms of COVID-19. And it is, at the moment, we got to see that it is really rising, but not as much as possible, because the Africa CDC, that's the African Center for Disease Control, are saying that the numbers are actually dropping by 14% in terms of confirmed cases, while the numbers of deaths are also dropping by 15% in terms of cases. So that shows that Africa is doing something in the right direction. And as a matter of fact, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control actually published some reports which actually says that for the first time in the last 5 months, Nigeria has seen less than 1,000 COVID-19 cases reported in a span of 24 hours. And the last time was sometime in September. Sometime in April and May, 19th of April and the 25th of May, where reports of less than 1,000 of these cases surfaced. So it seems to be slowing down, but that's, as we talk about flattening the curve here in Nigeria, the major talk, if they can actually help us with some of the graphs there, you got to find out that a lot of talk has always been about, because you can actually see the major graph and how things have actually played out. Sometime in May, you could see the massive uptick in the number of cases. But as we speak right now, you can actually see the reports coming in from yesterday, being the 20th
of September. You can see where the numbers are right now at the moment. But there have been discussions back and forth as to this paradox, because initially they gave a gloomy prognosis of how COVID-19 will ravage Africa because of the economic status of Africa, because of poverty in Africa, because of the lack of infrastructure in Africa. But that has not been the case. Although some are claiming, which seems to be the only plausible, although the NCDC in Nigeria are saying that there are no scientific backings to some of these claims, but the claims still remain that probably Nigeria's fights all the years, or just exposure to all that kind of coronaviruses, which could be the common cold or the flu, and the fact that we have been able to fight it and we beat it regularly might have created a kind of immunity for Nigerians, because that might be the only plausible explanation. Some scientists are saying chickenpox, which is one of the most common viruses we see here in Nigeria, might have created that, but the likes of Professor Tomari and even INEC has come out to speak against that there are no scientific backings to the fact that people have had chickenpox are the reason why people are not having COVID-19 in their numbers. But without a doubt, it looks like something is actually happening here. But as we move on to testing, Nigeria is not still doing enough testing, and that seems to be a big question mark. Now, this shows the confirmed cases, which is red, and it shows the number of the deaths have been relatively low. Over 1,000, we're not yet up to 1,100 at the moment in terms of COVID-19 deaths. You can see the recovery rates also very high. Now, as we move on to testing, which is something that is a big question mark for Nigeria. In total, Africa has just tested well over 14 million, just over 14 million confirmed cases. That is what India has done so far. And that is what the entirety of the continent of Africa is doing. With South Africa testing well over 4 million. Egypt, because of their relative numbers, have tested over 600,000. Now, Morocco has also, they've been doing massive testing. They've tested over 2 million. Ethiopia has tested well over 1 million. And Nigeria, the most populous black nation on earth, has just tested with well over 200 million people, have just tested 472,191 as of yesterday. And now big questions are being asked that maybe under-reporting of COVID-19, maybe not testing might be the reason why we are seeing these low numbers come out for the first time in 5 months. Although the NCDC are saying that the COVID-19 test has gone up by 50%, understanding that when you look at it, some weeks, just last week, the numbers that actually came in were over 31,000 tests done, which is, this week, the over 31,000 tests were done, putting it side by side with over 15,000 tests that were done a week before that. So at the moment, it's still here and there, but just laying out how things are actually playing out. But from all indications, COVID-19 is waning in Nigeria.
Well, Aaron, I'm not too sure that we can reach that conclusion, even based on the statistics, comparative statistics that you have provided with regard to the testing rate in Nigeria. If all we've been able to do is to just test up to 472,000 persons, then, of course, it means we're not doing enough. Yeah. You yourself made that clear. And again, we're told that the death rate is going down, and we're experiencing a flattening of the curve. But if you look at what happens in other jurisdictions, you see that we may be still sitting on a time bomb. Spas are to open, entertainment centers are to open in Lagos, which is the epicenter still of the coronavirus in Nigeria. Places of religious worship would open. Schools are going back. And what we have seen in other parts of the world is that the more you open up, the more you lay yourself open to the risk of a second wave. Yeah. New Zealand, that is now trying to open up, they experienced a second wave in August, right? Yes, now they say they are trying to open up. But even with that, they're saying they are just going to test the situation in Auckland for 2 weeks. And then they will take a look at the situation again. Now, in the UK, scientific advisors, Professor Chris Whitty, is going to have an unprecedented TV address today. Tomorrow, the Prime Minister is going to address the country, the nation, to consider shutting down parts of the UK communities because the numbers just seem to be going up. The question I ask is the curve really flattening in Nigeria? I do not think so. Second, where are Nigeria's scientific advisors? They've been too quiet. Now, where is the presidential task force that seems to have also relaxed? The presidential task force will seem to have relaxed. The scientific advisors will seem to have relaxed. We, the people ourselves, we have relaxed.
Yes, we have.
Look at the burial of the Emir of Zazzau yesterday. Look at the crowd, massive crowd, who came out to honor a popular monarch. I didn't see anybody in those photographs or videos using face masks. Look at the election in Benin. Yes, the INEC officials insisted that no face mask, no voting. But yes, people use face masks, but they didn't observe physical distancing. They didn't observe social distancing. If you go anywhere in Lagos, nobody is using masks, except when they want to enter restricted spaces where there is a no mask, no entry policy. Now, we can't have that reality and at the same time be saying that the number is going down in Nigeria. It's probably going down from the data they give us because we're not doing enough testing and everybody is just giving up. Nigeria should be able to adopt a position whereby if we do the right thing, we could shut down again. The United Kingdom is planning to shut down for another 6 months. They are saying that they are in the last saloon. Matt Hancock is saying that they are at a tipping point. Now, who is monitoring this process? I think Nigerians still believe that they are immune from COVID-19, whereas this remains an infectious, a contagious disease that even the scientists are still struggling to understand after 40 weeks.
Absolutely spot on, Dr. Abati. Although, frankly, on that note, I think I'm going to just head out and go wrap myself up in bubble wrap with an oxygen tank. But you're so right. And about our scientific advisors, joining Mr. Chris Whitty, that Dr. Abati just referred to, is Sir Patrick Vallance, the UK's chief scientific advisor. And they're really coming out at 11 a.m. to lay down the law. They're not even taking any questions. So I'm actually really interested in what they're going to say. It's been, speculated that they're going to have a lockdown because children returning to school has caused a huge spike across all ages at the moment. They have all kinds of problems with their track and tracing. And this thing that you mentioned, this theory, completely unfounded theory about chicken pox, conferring immunity. Chicken pox is a childhood rite of passage all over the world. It's not exclusive to Nigeria or Africa. Yes, we have confounded expectations for some reason or another. We've been quite lucky, it appears, so far. But let's not start throwing around unfounded theories, for goodness sake. That's so unhelpful.
And he says the childhood rite of passage. No, I had chicken pox by 30s.
Oh, you were one of the unlucky ones.
The unlucky ones.
Oh, they didn't take you for a sleepover to a friend's house who had chicken pox. They could just get it over and done with.
They took me, but I never had it.
No, but the good thing is that the NCDC has been quick to come out to quash that, talk about chicken pox, providing some kind of immunity to that.
It's clearly unfounded.
So the contention has always been the role of economy, opening up the economy, and fighting COVID-19 and the lockdown. But I would tell you this, science should win over the economy. Because it is when you are alive, you can do well with the economy. I mean, a lot of people will argue with me and say, Rufai, look at New Zealand, for instance. New Zealand had not gone on recession in a while, but their economy shrank 23%.
No, but the point
because of the lockdown and things
Rufai,
like that. But I would rather the economy shrinks 23% and people are alive to start up the economy when all of this is over, when the vaccine comes, than people are dead.
No, Rufai, the point is the difference.
America recently they've hit the 200,000 mark. Just imagine the economic power those 200,000 people that have died of COVID-19 in America will have put in the American economy if they were alive.
No, Rufai, now the point is this, with Africa, the difference is this. It still remains a scientific enigma that Africa is still recording these low numbers. It might be a reason of our inactivity in terms of testing,
Aaron,
but
Africa is not testing. That's
no,
why.
it might, yes, I agree.
That's simple. We are not testing.
But the point is, by scientific prognosis, people should be lying on the street dead.
Okay.
Africa should have been overrun. But at the moment, that is not the case.
I would like to say a big thank you to you.